Hey gang, just wanted to connect here. We are heading into the organizational proposal stage, and just wanted to do some recapping as we've hit the early part of the semester and give some framework, I think, as you head into that with just overall long term thoughts of the project itself. Mainly, really, I want you to make this applicable to your career. So the overall institutional problem that you're going to solve, make it applicable to your career that works for you. So, again, as a reminder, you don't have to use the institution that you are currently employed at. You don't have to use the role you're currently in. You can use the institution you're employed at. You can use the role you're currently in. I just don't want you to feel required or locked in that, because if you have an aspirational career role or an aspirational institution that you'd like to work at, but you're not yet there, you can use this organizational problem solution as that way to start utilizing pathways to get there. So that framework is there. Also, I want you to know that you don't have to solve this all in this semester. That is not the goal of this. And I was talking to a student earlier, and I equate this to going through my PhD and the dissertation. And I think I got so hung up um, while prepping for that and doing that dissertation. And finally, my dissertation chair said, "Look, you don't have to fix all the problems in the world with this one dissertation. The structure of a dissertation is to teach you the steps, the structures, the processes, the tools to do research and to find a result, and then to uh, build upon that result and interpreting. That's all. Then from there, you can use that experience to do further research and begin to solve all the world's problems in your area. So I think that made me feel a little bit better. Like, okay, I just gotta understand how to do a dissertation and go from there. So similarly with this project, you don't have to have solved the major thing for this institution all in this semester. You don't have to do, and that was one thing. I don't know if I relayed that clearly enough. So I want you to feel comfortable with that, and knowing that you are laying out a structure, a plan, a process. You're researching stakeholders. You are looking at a theory and a approach, and you're building things in that with your annotated bibliography. And eventually, you're going to talk to me using the EDT process, how you would work through a solution to the problem. You are going to look at building a continuous cycle of improvement. So, what are your processes to understand what stakeholders need, to act on what you found through assessments, through stakeholders' needs, and to make change within that cycle. Then you're eventually going to work towards building a budget for this, and then you'll build a timeline, and then you'll put all that together into one proposal. But you don't have to execute that entire thing in this one semester. So I want to make sure I said that and that you heard that. Like, you don't have to actually go and do and act on the plan and give me the results this semester. This is you setting that up. If you ever actually connect to it, I don't know. That's up to you. That's up to you to utilize that to enact change if you want to, or that's up to you to understand how the process to enact change occurs, and then you apply those frameworks to a problem you'd like to address within higher education at your institution, your organization, whatever it may be. Similarly, I've had other folks utilize this as a transition period. I've had one student who utilized this. He was transitioning out of the military into civilian life, and he had a desire to learn about small scale sustainable farming. And in his rural community, the only farming resources applied to large scale industrial farming that he didn't feel was very sustainable. So the more homework he did, the more he understand the value and the need to have resources to learn this. So his project was to propose a certificate at the community college to learn about small scale sustainable farming. And therefore, he built a project plan of how to actually launch that certificate and partner with the community college and offer that as a resource. So that was his project. Neat thing is he eventually actually did partner with the community college. So pretty cool thing there. So just to know, I want you to rest easy that I'm not expecting you to solve all of this this semester. You don't have to use your institution if you don't want to. You can. You don't have to use your current role if you don't want to, but you can. And then when you're looking at resources towards the end, I already have on the tab in Blackboard, there are resources for budgeting, for continuous improvement resources, things to that effect to help you understand. I don't need a very quoted, like direct penny for penny budget that you're thinking, but I want you to think through of what costs may be incurred in trying to enact your proposal. So that, is that a staff member? Okay, what level is that staff member? What would a typical annual salary be for that staff member? Are there going to be student staff involved in that? Well, how many hours would they work? What would they make per hour? How many weeks would they work? Are there going to be programming and event needs? What kind of costs would be connected to that? Is there any professional development connected to this role? Are there marketing and materials that are needed? Are there giveaway items connected to what you're trying to do? Are there other costs associated in connecting with your stakeholders and learning from them? Like, start kind of building all of those pieces, and that gives you a general framework of a budget. Similarly, a timeline. How long do you think it'll be? How long would it take to create the framework for this, post a position, do all those types of things, start getting in and building the programs, all those types of things? What kind of time frame would you be? So that way, and one final piece is encouraging you all to connect it to the strategic plan of the institution you intend to base the problem with. And the reason being is that institutions oftentimes utilize and prioritize their resources, both people and financial, towards strategic initiatives. So if there is a strategic plan component connected to your institutional problem, it helps to justify an institution, a department, a division, the potential reasoning to allocate resources towards your problem solution. So not that you won't come up with a phenomenal solution, but if it's not connected to a strategic plan, it's going to be harder to convince those powers that be to allocate resources towards it. So that's why I also challenge you to find a connection to the university strategic plan. And when you do all those things, you actually think through the annotated bibliography, you think through the stakeholders that would be impacted, you think through a theory and a lens you're going to approach this from, you've built your organizational proposal, you tie it to the strategic plan, you look at your continuous cycle for improvement and the assessment you would plan to do and what you would do with those assessments, you think through a budget that it might cost, and you think through a timeline, and you put all that together. This is a proposal you could then hand to someone and enact change if you'd like to. So I know that's a very long-winded explanation, but I wanted to make sure to connect that some of those questions that I've gotten in different Loop meetings, different Google Meetup meetings, all those types of things. I want to make sure you all feel comfortable with that as you're reaching out to do many of the really neat things you've explained in your discussion boards, and go forward with opportunities. So I think that's everything that I definitely wanted to connect with you on, and just give a little more verbal way to explain that. So I've rambled a little bit. So I'm going to go and stop now. And again, always feel free to reach out.